The 2025 Toyota Camry introduces the new 9th generation for the Camry here. And in this video, I'm going to go over the exterior, the interior, talk about how it drives, as well as talking about the kind of fuel economy you can expect, and also the pricing and how it compares to the competition. But huge thanks to Toyota for bringing me out here to San Diego to review the new Camry for you guys today. But as far as the new styling here, so most of the dimensions are the same. It's about an inch longer thanks to that new front end primarily, which is a little longer, incorporates that hammerhead look that we're used to from the Prius and others in the Toyota lineup. I think it looks really nice here on the Camry. So this is an SE trim that we're looking at here, which is one of the mid-grade trims, one of the lower ones. And so that's why you have a few unique touches. Every single trim of the Camry is different. There's only 4 trims now. There's LE, XLE, SE, and XSE, and they all have different looks. So for example, this SE here has this sportier bumper on the front of it, but you can see that the middle part is just black. It'll be painted on the XSE. Same thing goes for the LE. It's a little bit of a more stylish, classy look for the front bumper on that one, but that middle part again is unpainted, but then it goes to a painted version of that bumper whenever you go up to that XLE. So there's some little tweaks there. Also here on the SE, you only have these projector headlights. They're still LEDs as standard, which is great, but if you go up to the XLE or the XSE, you're gonna get the double stacked LED headlights instead, which look very cool. I mean, both of them look great, but you know, just one other differentiation you'll notice here whenever you have them all lined up. And so otherwise, I mean, it looks fantastic, and this red color really pops. And the SEs here, you get the 18-inch black wheels on these. You can go up to 19s on the XSE and all the way down to 16s on the LE front wheel drive. And that one's gonna be the one that gives you the best fuel economy with up to 53 mpg. The big news here for these is that they're all hybrid. So every single trim of the Camry is hybrid as standard. That's the only powertrain option, is a 4-cylinder with the hybrid component, but it means you don't have to go up to some higher trim to get the hybrid setup like you do with some of the competitors. And it's also great that you can get all-wheel drive now on every single trim. You previously couldn't even get all-wheel drive and the hybrid together. Now it's together and it's available on every single trim. And so it's just great to give people the flexibility of whatever, you know, price level they want to be at. You can still have all the stuff you want. And so it's really great the way they set it up. And then on this one, you know, it's just the one single color, but you can still get the two-tone thing, thankfully, with the XSE, and it's really good to see that make a comeback. And I love that Toyota's continuing on with the two-tone options. Out back there, you will also see the new taillights, new trunk lid design. You have a little spoiler here on the SE, the sportier rear bumper, which again will be different whenever you go to those LE and XLEs. And you also get a few other little tweaks there for the XSE, like that middle trunk lid portion being black versus the body color here on this. But overall, I think they did a great job here of making the Camry look even more aggressive than before, and just, you know, brings it up to speed here with a modern look. The interior in the 2025 Camry is also really nicely redone. It's got a really cool new design theme here and a lot of really thoughtful improvements. They really listened to the Camry community and really improved some key things, in my opinion. So anyway, first thing, sitting down in these seats, that is one of the big changes. These are new seats. They have better comfort, they say, and have been redesigned. And so far, they feel really good. Now, this SE trim, once again, you know, has this cloth and leather combo, which does come as standard on the SE, which is very nice. Heated seats aren't standard, though. That's part of an extra little upgrade package, but still really nice seats. And I do love the cloth, and it's a cool new design. I love the, you know, accents there with the white on here. The only complaint I have about these seats, though, is that they're not perforated for the leather portion, and it's a pretty hot day, and my back's kind of sweaty, and these seats don't breathe with this, you know, just straight black soft text here. I kind of wish the cloth was in that, you know, back portion instead and had the leather on top or something. But, you know, just one nitpick here, but just keep in mind, if you're going for these seats, you know, you're not going to have them breathe as well as maybe the nicer seats will in that other, you know, XLE, XSE kind of trims. And you're still able to get cooled seats in that XSE and the XLE as well, which is very nice to have. You're also able to get memory seats, but that's only on the XLE. That's the only one that gets it for some reason. So if you want that feature, which is a nice feature to have, you got to go for the XLE. And also it's worth noting that the XLE and XSE, not only do they have the leather, but you also have a unique combo on the XLE of leather and Dynamica, which is a microfiber for the first time, which is a really cool look. And speaking of fibers, that is another key change for this interior, is instead of having, you know, faux aluminum or carbon fiber look for like the dashboard here, you have fabric instead, and it, you know, sweeps up here on the driver and the passenger side, and it also comes over onto the doors here, and you have, you know, a little bit of a nicer door panel here than you had in the last generation. Still has the same, you know, nice padding here on the elbow points, and that's all still very durable. You know, it's not super fancy or plush, but it's durable. And I think, with the kinds of miles that people put on Camrys, typically, that durability is very important. That's also, I think, part of why we don't have any padding down by your knees here. So again, we're not in the top trim here, but it doesn't feel quite as plush as the Accord in some places, in my opinion, but still a very nice interior nonetheless. And then moving on to the steering wheel here, you have the new Toyota wheel, which is great. A great 9-3 grip, nice little 10 and 2 notches, and you get some paddle shifters here on the back of the wheel, a few buttons here on the front, but overall, not overwhelming, not, a million buttons like some others do. And overall, I really like this wheel. And it's also worth noting that you can also get a heated steering wheel and heated seats even in a base bare bones, LE or SE trim as well. So it's really great you have those option packages available. The gauges here in the SE and the LE will be this 7-inch digital gauge cluster with the little portions there on the right and the left, and so it still looks like a mostly digital cluster. It's just not as much screen real estate as the bigger 12.3-inch screens that you get in the XLE and XSE. I don't really think you're missing out on much. I mean, it is a nicer display. There's more customization, more stuff you can display on it. So certainly a nice upgrade. You can even get with the premium package on the XSE and XLE, you can even get a head-up display, which is great. But if you're someone who, is trying to save a few bucks, nothing wrong with going for this base gauge cluster. It's really nice. And the nice thing is, like with this SE, if you want the bigger screen, these do come standard with an 8-inch touchscreen, which is great. Still has wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. But like this one has the optional upgrade package that gives you the 12.3-inch screen. It's the multimedia package you get with this. And with all these upgrade packages, an SE starts a little over $33,000, including destination. This one, as tested here, which has also the moonroof package, the weather package, which gives you the heated seats and wheel, and this touchscreen, and also convenience package with the auto dimming mirror and the smart key on the doors. That all adds up to be about $36,500 for this one we're sitting in here. But anyway, I mean, this 12.3-inch screen is really nice. Both screens are great. They both run the same software. It's this new Toyota infotainment software that is really well done. It's again focuses on that wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto experience, but you do still have Sirius XM and stuff, so you can tune your radio stations and all that, which is notable because the Accord doesn't have the Sirius XM on its top screen. So it's great you have that here in this, and just your basics, navigation, and all that is still here as well. And a really nice screen, and really just a lot of real estate there for your smartphone mirroring as well, which is awesome. And it's great to still have a volume knob here too. As standard, you get 6 speakers here with any Camry. You can go up to a 9-speaker JBL stereo in the premium package in those upper trims. Coming down, you also have your climate control controls, which are just a nice little row of levers here. Nice and simple, but it's great to still have the physical controls as well. And it's also worth noting that in this climate control area, you have dual zone climate control as standard. You also have air vents in the rear there as standard too, which is great. And again, something that others, might make you have to go up to a higher trim for. It's great that you have that all standard here in this. Coming down further, you will see that they have 2 USB-C jacks only for charging. The one you're going to use if you want to do wired CarPlay or wired Android Auto for whatever reason, that's going to be this USB-A, which is interesting. I'm not sure why it's not all USB-C, but they chose to do that. They also have a Qi wireless charging pad as standard now, and they say it's a wider charging area than before too, so it'll help hopefully charge your phone a little bit better. And it is rubberized here a little bit, but I'm not sure if it'll fit all phone types, and how that'll fit as far as your phone sliding around and stuff, because it's not quite as secure as some other Toyota products and others as well. But I also love they really opened up the center console here, so you have this extra bin here next to the charging pad, and also 2 cup holders that are a good size, and you also have the center armrest, which is nice and softly padded, and you have a nice big cubby in there, and another traditional powerlet in there as well. There's also bottle holders in the doors. Moving on to the back seat here in the Camry, it also has been redesigned here for 2025, and it's a nice, comfortable back seat. One interesting thing that I also learned from the chief engineer on the reveal of this event late last year was that they've also repositioned the seat belts there in the back to perform better in the new IHS crash tests that focus more on rear passenger safety now. So hopefully, that will perform better as a result of that change as well. But anyway, there's also a fold-down center armrest with 2 cup holders built into it. You also will see a USB-A and USB-C jack down there by the air vents. There's also pockets in those doors as well. And I'm 5'9", I'm sitting behind myself. It's just as roomy as the past gen Camry. There's no dimensional changes on the inside here. So still have a few inches of legroom to spare, good amount of headroom, and no complaints there whatsoever. The trunk space is also pretty much unchanged, I believe, compared to the last generation. So same amount of space, and all works great. It's great you still have a spare tire under the floor there as well. And so overall, the Camry interior just continues to be nice and roomy and spacious, but but it's nicely brought up to speed with this new interior design, all the newest tech, and everything you really want here. And so overall, just a really great interior. And the last thing I have to add too is that I love that they continue to offer the cockpit red interior on that XSE too, and it's a really fun combo to still have. I don't know how many people, you know, get that combo, but I'm just really happy they continued on, because I think we need more colors in interiors, and it's great they offer that. But let's start up and go for a drive. The Camry here has a new Toyota key here. It says Camry on it. And on the back, you have your buttons there. It's just plastic, you know, nothing special, but gets the job done. It's not too big either. And of course, it is keyless access, keyless entry, and push button start here in this one, the way it's equipped. But you do get a smart key with push button start, I believe, as standard in all Camrys. Just doesn't get the proximity thing as standard. But anyway, so you just hit the power button here. And since they're all hybrid, it turns right on. It doesn't always kick on the gas engine right away. All right, so now we're in the XSE with this awesome cockpit red interior for this driving portion of the video. And I'm gonna put it straight into the sport mode and get right into an acceleration test. Let's see how it does. And here we go. We're going uphill here, but still, I mean, it pulls really strong. The thing that I noticed, I've been driving the Camry for a little while already. That was my first full throttle acceleration. But the thing that really impresses me is actually non-full throttle acceleration, because they really tuned this new powertrain to be really responsive to throttle inputs, and it's really, really impressive. So these all run a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine that's combined with their newest generation hybrid technology. It's the first pairing of that. It's going to give you 232 horsepower for the all-wheel drive versions. It's, I believe, 228 horsepower for the front-wheel drive ones. But man, the mid-range is really where it's impressive. You know, that like 40 to 50 acceleration, it really like actually plants you in the back of your seat. And they said they used more of the electric juice to really boost the acceleration here, and you can really feel it. We're going straight into some corners here where it does have retuned handling as well. They say they gave it new shocks. There's also a bigger stabilizer bar doing some work there, and they say that they improved both the ride and the handling in that balance. And I do have to say that, I mean, it's been a little while since I've been in the last gen Camry, but this certainly does feel smoother. I mean, these roads, are pretty smooth here, but we did hit some few bumps earlier this morning, and it's really nicely done. I'm actually really impressed. The ride is very smooth, exactly what you want out of a Camry, but yet even on these 19-inch wheels you get on the XSE, which is going to be the sportiest and probably the stiffest ride, because the SE and XSE do have a sport tune suspension. It'll be even softer in the LE and XLE, but even with this firmest setup possible, it still is really nice and smooth. Yeah, the way that it just really pulls those higher RPMs, I mean, we're talking highway speeds, 232 horsepower. You wouldn't think it feels super fast, but this is also worth noting that because of the all-wheel drive system here, it measures the horsepower through the roads. We're not talking the traditional crank numbers. We're talking like at the wheels, 232 horsepower. So it does feel really nice and punchy. I'm really impressed. It's actually more fun than you might expect, especially here in sport mode, which amps it up a little bit more, gives you slightly heavier steering, and even quicker throttle response than usual. But even in the normal mode, it's really nice and responsive and feels really good. Another handling thing is you do still have a multi-link rear suspension, so it gives you that nice sophistication. And again, just the whole ride is really nice and smooth, and really good handling too. Now, as far as like flatness goes, I mean, we have a bunch of corners here coming up. I'll continue to discuss this here, but it feels really nice and flat. I mean, there's a little bit of a lag. It's not razor sharp. I mean, we're talking about a Camry after all. This isn't going to be a sports car, but it does handle itself very, very nicely. And overall, I'm really happy with it. The steering weight is also pretty nice. Not too heavy, not too light, just right. And we can even go back down into the normal mode here. And it gets a little lighter, but still exactly what you want out of a Camry. I think they did a really good job of fine-tuning that. Another thing they did also fine-tune was the brake. So it has a new pump for the actuator on these, and so that's supposed to improve the brake feel. And it is really nice and bitey right towards the top of the pedal. I think it's more responsive for the braking than it was before. But the one thing that I did notice whenever we were in traffic earlier this morning was that there was one point where I had to do a little bit of a quicker stop for some traffic, and it did seem like there was a little less bite towards the bottom of the brake pedal than I was expecting, and you know, so it's something I think you have to get used to a little bit, but it is still very natural, very good with the blending. Even though it's a hybrid, there is no weirdness really. It feels really good, and that's something I'm going to have to spend more and more time with to really suss out a little bit more. And another thing is impressive, like we have a little bit of a rougher paved road here now, and you hear some road noise, but they have certainly improved that. You now have side laminated glass here on the XSE and the XLEs, and they just added more sound deadening in general just to make it a more refined vehicle. And you know, again, I'd have to drive the old one back to back to really give you a great comparison, but I gotta say that it does feel, you know, nice and quiet here. And another nice tight corner here. We got 235 wide tires, by the way, on these, and you know, no issues here whatsoever with grip, even at some higher speeds here on these canyon roads. You still have the same great TNGA platform as you had for the last generation, so that's, you know, going to be all kinds of improvements as far as the rigidity and just the poise of this vehicle. But you know, if you're used to the last gen Camry, you know, there are some tweaks here to the suspension and all that, but as far as wheelbase goes and even curb weight is pretty similar. We're still in the, you know, 3,400 to under 3,600 pound range, so they managed to keep the weight nice and low in these as well, which is awesome. And especially, you know, with the hybrid system being standard, and even, you know, the all-wheel drive versions adding extra weight, you know, since the all-wheel drive is just an e-motor in the rear, which is a change. That is one noteworthy change too, is that, you know, previously you had a mechanical all-wheel drive system. Now it's, you know, just the e-motor in the rear there, and so you know, that gives you all the all-wheel drive traction you should really need. It always makes sure that the battery is topped off enough so that, you know, whenever you need that, you know, rear wheel action, you can get it going, but you know, it's not going to use it all the time, and you're going to have you know, it go to front wheel drive whenever you don't need those rear wheels working. But you can actually see on the little display here all four wheels. You can see, you know, when it's shifting power to the back there, because it's always monitoring for that need. And because all of these are hybrids, they all run through an eCVT transmission, and you know, it does a really good job. It's, you know, really responsive, again, with just giving you the power when you need it, and then fading in the background, giving you the efficiency when you don't need the power. But that means that, you know, those who enjoy the 8-speed automatics you had in prior Camrys, that is no more here. And also, you know, while all-wheel drive is available on all trims, you can still get front-wheel drive, by the way, you know, in the Camry if you want, and that'll give you that extra saving. So, and that applies to all the trims. So unlike others, you know, with this, if you want the all-wheel drive, you can get it on all trims. If you want front-wheel drive, you can get that on all the trims. You know, it's great to give you that flexibility. And we got some more corners here. We do have traffic and stuff, so I'm not able to, you know, push it to the absolute limit or anything here. But you know, it's still just so flat and so effortless with the handling too. I think that's what I'm really noticing, is I feel like there was a little bit more of a weightier feel to the prior gen, even though weight is very similar. I think just the way, you know, the steering is nice and light, but the whole vehicle is just so poised, and it just gives you just a really effortless feel. You can just go around canyon roads without breaking a sweat. The car just does it all, and does it all really well, and with really good comfort too. But back into sport mode here, you know, push it a little more. Yeah, it is so dynamic. I love the all-wheel drive system too in the back. I really could feel it working and neutralizing the handling and making it so it wasn't understeering. This all-wheel drive system is actually really good. I mean, it's not the most powerful rear motor or anything, but I mean, it definitely, I mean, it makes it more dynamic, 100%. It feels great. It's really a nice improvement in the punch and in the handling. And the same thing I experienced last year with the Prius. Whenever you go up to the all-wheel drive versions of those, it gets a little more dynamic as well. They really do a good job of making it sportier here with the all-wheel drive system. It's not just for all-weather traction. It really, yeah, if you're an enthusiast, you know, not only do you get a few extra horsepower, but I really feel like you just get more punch, and it's just a little more dynamic here with the all-wheel drive system. So I'm really loving that. But the last thing to mention here as far as driving stuff goes is the safety technology you have here. So it's actually pretty simple because these all get Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 as standard, which means you're going to have all the basics: automatic emergency braking, you know, lane keep assist. You also have adaptive cruise control as standard, something that some other companies still make you pay extra for. Standard here in this. Even blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert are standard as well. That is something that is new. Most other companies, even Toyota, Toyota, you know, usually makes you pay extra for blind spot monitoring. Not so in the Camry. It's all standard equipment, which is great, so you don't have to sit there and make sure you tick all the right boxes in order to get all the safety stuff you want. You know, they all come with it, makes it nice and easy for shopping. Now, the one extra thing you do get added on here is when you go for the premium packages here, there's a premium plus package, and that will give you the driver monitoring sensor here, which allows you to have the traffic jam assist, which lets you do hands-free driving at speeds up to 25 miles per hour on highways. So basically, just again, being in a traffic jam at low speeds on the highway is the only way you'll actually have hands-free capability. But it is nice that they offer that for sure, but that is again only on these upper trims and on that, you know, top package there. But you know, it's great that you have that, and that also gives you a forward cross traffic alert as well, which I'm not crazy about personally. You can turn that off, but not something I would pay extra for myself. But you know, nice they offer those features. That also gives you, you know, a head-up display and other nice convenience features as well. But outside of, you know, those couple of things, everything that all the main stuff here, safety-wise, is standard. Now, the last couple of things I mentioned here are fuel economy and pricing and how it compares to the competition. Fuel economy, though, is really impressive with this new generation hybrid system and this very efficient, you know, 4-cylinder from Toyota here. It means that you're going to have very impressive fuel economy. So you can get up to 53 mpg. Now, that is the city rating for the LE front-wheel drive. It's the best case scenario there. But a lot of the others do get right around 50. Now, this XSE we're in here does 44 mpg in the city, 43 on the highway, and 44 combined. So, I mean, we're still talking about, you know, low to mid 40s here. Still really good fuel economy for something that has, you know, 232 horsepower, is as punchy and dynamic as this is. And, you know, again, just great that everyone's having great efficiency. And when you go for those average Camrys, they just default get, you know, like 50 plus mpg. It's really just going to dramatically increase the fleet averages here for Camry MPG overall, and it's great that, again, you get that hybrid system as standard now. And now, the only thing about the hybrid thing is that if you are shopping for a base bare bones Camry, the price has gone up slightly, of course, because of the hybrid system. But compared to the base hybrid of the last generation here, these are actually $455 cheaper. So, you know, these days everything's ballooning in price, and the fact that you're getting, you know, the new generation Camry that has a better hybrid system, gets fantastic fuel economy, this brand new interior, all the other enhancements I mentioned in this video, and you're getting it for $455 less, you know, than the last generation, is just really incredible, and something that needs to be applauded, I think, as well, because, again, where else are you hearing about anyone lowering the price on anything, at least gas power these days? You know, it doesn't happen, especially hybrids that are super hot with their demand. They could have made these more expensive, and they didn't, and I think that that's great. Now, you can load these up like this XSE with all the packages on it, and all the, you know, the premium paint and stuff like that. That's all going to add up to, this one's about $42,000. It's about as high as they'll go, as 42 grand. You know, that is right around what you're going to see with, like, for example, a Honda Accord Touring. Those are about $40,000 as well, and they don't have all-wheel drive, and also less horsepower too, it's worth noting. So, you know, it's really, I think, the Camrys kind of, not only do they have this unique niche all their own, where no one else offers all-wheel drive and hybrid, no one else is also all hybrid. You know, the Accord makes you go up to the higher trims if you want the hybrid powertrain, and the fact that you have hybrid as standard, you have all-wheel drive available on every trim, and, you know, they've still managed to keep the prices in check, I think is really impressive. I think they did a great job here on the redo for the Camry. And yeah, I mean, I'll be looking forward to spending a week with one of these to get more impressions on these. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that. But you know, overall, I mean, these are just really impressive at their starting price of about $29,500. It's, I think, a lot of car, a lot of space, a lot of comfort, and a lot of standard equipment. Once again, you know, the auto climate control, dual zone, and you know, Qi wireless charging pad, and all those types of things. It's a lot of car for the money, in my opinion, even at that base trim, and it's very nice still, even in those lower trims as well. And so anyway, that's all of my thoughts here on the 2025 Camry for now. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. Huge thanks to Toyota once again for providing me with the opportunity to review the Camry for you guys here today. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.